See it tonight, read it tomorrow, or hear it now. This is WMRC Daybreak News.
Good morning, 2 minutes past 8. Some clouds around early, then sun. Ed Thompson reporting Daybreak News presented by the Consigli Ruggiero Funeral Home, Water Street in Milford. Our in-studio guests this morning, Milford Fire Chief Bill Tuohey and Police Chief Tom O'Loughlin. We're going to talk about yesterday's effort at the quarry and a couple of other issues and logistics of getting something like this underway. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Let's first off start where you stand today. Are crews up there now?
Yes.
Doing what?
Getting organized, having their meetings, their briefings before going back into the water, getting all their equipment that they had to take out there, their scuba equipment. And get it set up, and they'll be in the water shortly.
Both of you, tell me about the logistics of planning for something like this. It just doesn't happen. This probably was planned the way to deal with this years and years ago. It's just a procedure you follow, is that right?
Yeah, over time. I can remember, in the old days, we used to tie a rope onto the tree and
scale down
and head down into the water or onto the rocks, to help someone that had slipped and fallen. But nowadays you have the district technical rescue team that they train monthly to national standards just for something like this, and now they're working in combination with the divers, which is they don't usually do. So you have two different teams working together right now.
Chief, you said something about the regional resources that are brought in for this, and they're highly specially trained.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I mean, it's really remarkable to see the work that they do. The firefighters, there are a couple of police officers on the dive teams. Then you have the state police dive team as well. But just to see the coordinated effort is actually remarkable to see, as I said. The firefighters that establish, the ropes and the instruments that they use to tie them down to make sure that it's safe. And they're able to take equipment and right over the edge of the cliff and bring it to the divers as they need it. But aside from that, just the level of cooperation that you see from law enforcement agencies as well as fire agencies across this region, we're fortunate to have those resources.
It's probably a novice statement or question, but safety first, right?
Absolutely. There a strict emphasis on safety. The divers will have a safety officer watching over them. The technical rescue personnel will have a safety officer working over them. And at any moment, if they see something that isn't quite right or could potentially go wrong, they'll stop an operation, fix the problem, and then continue.
We hear a lot about, when something like this happens, rescue to recovery. Tell me about making that decision.
It's an issue of time. This individual was in the water. They initially, when firefighters arrived, they did go in with wetsuits, with boat, to see if the individual could be seen from the surface. And that wasn't the case. So as time transpires, then you reach a point where no one could survive that long in the water. So then it's a recovery effort.
Is this water cold? Colder than we would think?
Yeah, it's the first, I had heard after 30 feet it gets extremely cold. That was from the divers. The top 30 isn't too bad, but it's really cold down deep.
Do the divers have special skills where they would go to just a certain depth and then you'd bring in somebody else? Or not?
Potentially. I don't know what the capabilities of each diver is, but I know they would dive into the depth of 60 to 80 feet yesterday. They're going to 100 today. If necessary, they can bring in specialized divers for deep water that could go to the bottom, which we're being told is 150 feet.
The police's role in this is to keep everybody safe, keep spectators away, and things like that. You got the initial call, transferred it to the fire department. Again, I guess that joint effort in the police station between police and fire worked.
No doubt about it. I mean, the relationship, as you know, between the police and fire department here in Milford, and our relationship regionally with other fire agencies, law enforcement agencies, is very good. So when I arrived, I coordinated with Deputy Chief Nelson from the fire department. He was the incident commander, and just following incident command. So from there, Our role, as you indicated, we had uniform officers assigned around the perimeter to keep people away. And then secondarily, we assigned detectives because we don't know the nature necessarily of how this individual died. So, they're in the water. When we do find them and they are recovered, detectives, will initiate an investigation to determine whether or not there was any foul play. And if that's the case, then we'll establish a crime scene and handle it in that fashion.
Dangers beneath the water. We've all heard and seen some of the levels where the water is maybe at 5 to 8 feet, say, and then there's a ledge, and then it might drop down to, like the chief said, 60 to 70 feet. So the dangers are inherent for the divers as well.
Yeah, they're not smooth walls. They're jagged walls. They can get underneath little shelves underneath there. There's automobiles in there. You don't know what other kind of debris has been thrown in there over the years. So as the deeper they go with the diminished light, it becomes a problem. It's dangerous for the divers. There's a lot of potential issues in there.
And likewise, young people jumping from those cliffs. I mean, you're jumping from 50 feet, 60 feet, that's equivalent of a 5-story building. And then the impact to the water alone, as you know, a few years ago we had another young man that lost his life there. And, I mean, he went off and hit the edge, the side of the cliff, and he was severely injured and dropped into the water. And he went down, and we didn't find him for a couple of days. So, I mean, the dangers are there. We try to warn people not to go up into that area. It's just too dangerous. They shouldn't be up there.
And I was getting to that. You guys, for years, police and fire, have told people not to go there. I mean, the solution is, I guess, not to blame anyone, just don't go.
Well, the private property, you can't, unless they fence them off and put no trespassing signs, which they would be doing every day, because the young people tear them down. So that's the only way we enforce their property interest. Aside from that, we do, as you know, we have the underage drinking grants. We send plainclothes officers up into those areas all summer long, and what we're looking for is people that possess the alcohol unlawfully, and then we'll deal with it from that point. Likewise, the Board of Selectmen has been proactive over the years and established no parking, tow zones along Route 85, along Haven Street, along the areas where we know they park, to go into those areas, the quarries. And that's had an impact, but we're finding they'll park 2 miles away, 3 miles away and walk. But the danger's there. There's no question about it. I've been here in Milford 12 years, and I believe that's the third young person that's died in the quarries.
Chief Tuohey, just a recap of what's going to be done when the divers go into the water this morning.
They'll resume they've been searching in a grid pattern. It's just not, freelance diving. Okay. They have a set pattern. There's people in boats. There's people on the sides. There's ropes. There's markers. There's buoys. And they do a grid search to varying depths. And they're basically going to cover that entire quarry until they find them.
Everybody has an assignment?
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Ed.
Also, another tragedy yesterday. A 10-year-old boy remains in critical condition at a Worcester hospital after he suffered some sort of medical condition while swimming at the Fino Field Pool in Milford yesterday afternoon. Now, the boy was being tested so he could go into a deeper area of the pool when this incident occurred. Fire department EMTs rushed to the scene and performed a CPR. The youngster was taken to UMass Medical. WMRC has learned a family member said that by no means was this the fault of the staff or lifeguards at the pool, and this was caused by an undetermined condition that caused the boy to struggle in the water. While the alert staff immediately noticed and called for medical assistance, and EMTs were on the scene in a minute or so. Many people have reached out to the family, and they ask for your thoughts and prayers for the youngster this morning.